Since the dawn of writing, books have been gateways to extraordinary knowledge, legacies passed down through countless generations. Yet, not all books illuminate. Some conceal shadows best left untouched. From ancient tomes whispering of dark magic to cursed texts threatening ruin, brace yourself as we delve into the most enigmatic books you should avoid at all costs. The Demonic Dictionary. If the unsettling presence of King Paimon in Hereditary or the terrifying Valak in The Nun gave you chills, their alleged origins are even more disturbing. A real book known as the Lesser Key of Solomon. This infamous grimoire stands as a highly influential text in the realm of magic. It's not a single work, but a compilation of 5 distinct texts penned over centuries, eventually collected in the 17th century when belief in magic was prevalent. The true author of this potentially dangerous book remains a mystery. However, its pages purportedly detail the methods for summoning a significant number, 72, of distinct demons, each with their own specific powers and sigils. Among this infernal list are the very entities that have inspired modern horror films. The supposed allure of summoning these demons lies in the promise of obtaining great knowledge and power. However, this exchange is said to come at a significant cost, often implied to be one's soul. Furthermore, demons were widely considered to be treacherous beings. A quest for arcane knowledge could quickly turn into a dangerous encounter with demonic influence or even possession. The potential dangers are highlighted by the story of a 14th century French monk, John of Morigny. Seeking wisdom within one of the texts of the Lesser Key, he was instead afflicted with horrific demonic visions. This experience so traumatized him that he wrote his own manuscript warning others to avoid its perilous contents. Even those who have merely read the original manuscript have reported unsettling occurrences, such as the pages turning on their own and the fleeting appearance of ghostly figures. Perhaps a less supernaturally charged book would make for more comfortable reading. The Ghastly Gospel. While the term gospel typically conjures images of divine teachings and messages of salvation, a far more sinister text bears a similar moniker, the Grand Grimoire, chillingly nicknamed the Gospel of Satan. This decidedly unholy book, first appearing in the early 19th century, sheds any semblance of wholesomeness for a dark and unsettling exploration of demonic influence. Supposedly penned by Honorius of Thebes in 1520, though historical evidence points to a later origin, popular legend casts Honorius as a mere scribe for the devil himself. Consequently, the Grand Grimoire offers no comforting parables or uplifting messages. Instead, it delves into the disturbing claim of the systematic corruption of each new pope by demonic forces. More alarmingly, it purports to equip the reader with the very instructions needed to summon Lucifer, the Prince of Darkness. Certain versions even venture into the forbidden art of necromancy, detailing rituals for the resurrection of the dead. Unsurprisingly, the Grand Grimoire holds a notorious reputation as a powerful and dangerous black magic text. The very act of opening its pages is rumored to be akin to forging a pact with the devil, a spiritual transaction with dire and eternal consequences. While readily available online in modern printings, these are often dismissed as diluted imitations lacking the true power of the original. The genuine Grand Grimoire, steeped in its dark history and potent lore, is allegedly secured within the Vatican's secret archives, a detail that, while sounding like the plot of a thriller, is often cited as fact. This secure location, whether truth or myth, certainly makes avoiding this ghastly gospel a relatively straightforward endeavor for most. Historia del Huérfano. A seemingly innocuous title, Historia del Huérfano, The Orphan's Story, belies a publishing saga steeped in mystery and misfortune. This 17th century Spanish adventure novel endured an extraordinary 400-year confinement, locked away from eager readers, allegedly due to a malevolent curse. Legend whispered of a dark cloud hanging over any soul who dared to bring its narrative into the light. The weight of this ominous history did not deter Peruvian academic Belinda Palacios. In 2016, she unearthed the long-forgotten manuscript, her resolve unwavering to translate its aged script and finally share the orphan's adventures with a modern audience. Her determination was undeniably bold, considering the trail of tribulations left by previous ill-fated attempts at publication. The original author's thwarted efforts were merely the prologue to a series of unsettling tragedies. Subsequent individuals who sought to release the book were reportedly struck down by strange illnesses, involved in devastating car accidents, and succumbed to inexplicable deaths. Understandably, these chilling accounts cast a long shadow over Palacio's endeavor. So profound was her concern that she devised a contingency plan. Should tragedy befall her, she entrusted a friend with the grim task of incinerating the manuscript, lest the curse claim another victim. Yet, armed with scholarly dedication and perhaps a touch of defiance, Palacio persevered. In 2018, against all odds and historical precedent, Historia del Huérfano was finally published, seemingly without inflicting any apparent harm. The long-feared curse appeared to have been broken. However, a lingering sense of caution prevails, suggesting that perhaps a respectful distance, a little more time, might be wise before adding this historically burdened tale to one's reading list. Rouskinner. Amidst tales of miraculously salvaged ancient texts, like the smuggler Salter's improbable survival at sea, lies a contrasting narrative, that of lost books better left undisturbed, steeped in a sinister mystique. Among these is the Rouskinner, or Redskin, a seemingly unassuming tome penned by the 16th century Icelandic monk Gottskálk Nicolason. Legend, however, paints this book as far from ordinary, imbuing it with a potent aura of dark magic. Its pages are said to be filled with powerful incantations, their ultimate purpose the terrifying ambition of bending the devil himself to Gottskálk's will, granting him dominion over the world. Mercifully, the monk's audacious aspirations remained unfulfilled. Upon his death in 1520, the chilling grimoire was interred with him, seemingly neutralizing its potential for malevolence. Yet, 2 centuries later, the Rouskinner's dark allure proved too strong to resist. A shadowy Icelandic mage named Loftur, driven by a thirst for forbidden knowledge, embarked on a perilous quest to unearth the book's secrets, venturing to Gottskálk's final resting place. The ensuing tale takes a bizarre and spectral turn. Legend recounts Loftur's audacious act of summoning the deceased monk's spirit, demanding the handover of the dreaded Rouskinner. This spectral transaction, however, did not go unnoticed. A vigilant student, witnessing the eerie scene unfold, intervened by ringing the church bells, their resonant peals disrupting the supernatural exchange and causing the spectral Gottskálk to dissipate. Loftur, thwarted in his ambition, fled, only to meet a grim end during his homeward journey, a watery demise attributed to the consequences of his hubris. The ultimate fate of the Rouskinner remains shrouded in uncertainty, with some believing it was destroyed in the ensuing chaos, while others remain convinced that this dangerous grimoire still lurks somewhere, perhaps awaiting another ambitious soul. Despite the likely fantastical nature of much of this legend, the Rouskinner serves as a potent reminder that some lost books are perhaps best left undisturbed, their secrets safely locked away in the shadows of history. The Codex Gigas. The notion of Satan as a singular author is quickly dispelled by the legend surrounding the Codex Gigas, also known as the Devil's Bible. This truly colossal tome, standing a staggering 3 feet tall and weighing a hefty 165 pounds, now resides in the National Library of Sweden, a testament to the sheer effort required to transport it. However, its immense size is merely the opening chapter of its intriguing story. The narrative transports us back to 13th century Bohemia, where a Benedictine monk named Hermann Hermitus found himself facing a grim sentence: to be walled up alive for his transgressions. In a desperate bid for survival, Hermann proposed an audacious deal. If spared, he would transcribe all the world's knowledge into a single book within the span of a single night. An impossible task by any measure. Faced with this insurmountable challenge, Hermann is said to have turned to a darker power. He allegedly prayed to the devil, who, surprisingly, agreed to assist. In exchange for Hermann's soul and, rather curiously, a portrait, Satan purportedly completed the monumental task with supernatural speed. The following morning, the head monk was met with an astonishing sight. The seemingly impossible had been achieved. Regardless of the veracity of this legendary pact, the Codex Gigas is a tangible reality, an undeniably impressive volume containing the Old and New Testaments, historical chronicles, and even instructions for casting spells and performing exorcisms. Yet, the remarkably consistent handwriting throughout its extensive pages suggests the work of a single scribe laboring for perhaps 2 decades, casting doubt on the miraculous one-night completion. Adding another layer to the enigma are the 12 missing final pages, fueling speculation that they may have contained the very prayer Hermann used to invoke the devil's aid. Could the legends be true? Perhaps the Prince of Darkness harbors a secret talent for rapid transcription. The Book of Soiga. Imagine a crossword puzzle where the wrong answer could cost you your life. That was the predicament faced by John Dee, the brilliant and somewhat eccentric advisor to Queen Elizabeth I. In the 16th century, a time where the lines between science and the occult were blurred, Dee acquired the Book of Soiga, a Latin text delving into the realm of demonology. His scholarly curiosity, fueled by the era's belief in magic, led him to believe it held valuable knowledge. However, the book presented a formidable challenge. Its final 36 pages were encoded in an indecipherable script. Dee, a renowned mathematician and cryptographer, exhausted every known method to unlock its secrets. Driven to desperation, he even reportedly sought divine intervention, consulting the angel Uriel. The celestial being's response was chilling. The book was cursed, and any mortal who managed to decode its hidden message would meet their demise within 2.5 years. Undeterred by this ominous warning, Dee continued his attempts until the mysterious book vanished from his possession. Almost 4 centuries passed before the Book of Soiga resurfaced in 1994, with 2 copies discovered in separate libraries. The curse, however, did not deter modern minds. In 2006, cryptographers finally cracked the code, revealing a collection of demon names and arcane magical spells. Intriguingly, the lead codebreaker remains alive and well, leading to a lingering theory. Perhaps the curse only activates upon a true and comprehensive understanding of the book's perilous secrets. This tale serves as a potent reminder that some puzzles, especially those shrouded in ancient warnings, might be best left unsolved, their perilous secrets forever locked away. Pseudo Monarchia Daemonum. Even if you find the concept of cursed books far-fetched, the real-world inspiration behind H.P. Lovecraft's fictional Necronomicon offers a genuinely unsettling tale. This infamous spellbook, a cornerstone of cosmic horror, owes its existence, at least in part, to the Pseudo-Monarchia Daemonum, or the false monarchy of demons. This 16th century tome, far from the realm of fiction, meticulously catalogues 69 demons, providing detailed, albeit cryptic, instructions on how one might attempt to contact them. The Pseudo-Monarchia Daemonum bears a striking resemblance to later, equally chilling grimoires like the Lesser Key of Solomon, suggesting a lineage of dark knowledge passed down through occult traditions. However, the intentions of its author, Johann Weyer, a physician and occultist, remain a subject of debate. The very title, False Monarchy, hints at a potential debunking, a belief that the power attributed to demons paled in comparison to divine authority. Weyer may have viewed demon summoning as a foolish and ultimately self-destructive pursuit. This perspective raises a fascinating question. If Weyer truly believed in the weakness of demons, where did he acquire such detailed intel on their hierarchies and summoning rituals? Did he, perhaps ironically, delve into the very practices he seemingly condemned, risking the ire of the infernal realm to pen his cautionary or perhaps subtly instructional text? The true motivations behind this tome of terrors remain shrouded in the shadows of the 16th century, leaving us to ponder the enigmatic origins of a book that inadvertently inspired one of the most iconic fictional works of horror. The Titanic Curse. We all know luck can be fickle, but sometimes it feels downright malicious. Enter the story of the Great Omar. In the early 1900s, the London bookbinding firm of Sangorski and Sutcliffe poured their hearts into creating a breathtaking edition of Edward Fitzgerald's Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, finally completing their masterpiece in 1911. This wasn't just a book, it was an opulent spectacle, encrusted with over 1,000 jewels and featuring 3 peacocks on the cover, a symbol of royalty that earned it the moniker, the Great Omar. But here's the twist. While peacocks signify royalty, Their feathers are also tied to bad luck. True to form, Sangorsky and Sutcliffe found selling their jewel-laden creation a nightmare, eventually auctioning it off for a fraction of their investment. The buyer planned to ship it to its new home in New York on a grand new ship called the Titanic. You can guess what happened next. The ship sank, and the great Omar plunged to the ocean floor. Adding to the tragedy, Sangorsky himself drowned just weeks later. Undaunted, Sutcliffe embarked on creating a second, equally lavish copy, this time securing it in a London vault. Fate, however, had other plans. It was destroyed during the World War II Blitz. By this point, the word curse was likely being whispered. Yet, remarkably, Sutcliffe's nephew persevered, completing a third version that, so far, has avoided catastrophe and now rests in the British Library. Let's hope its luck holds. Egypt's Haunted Handbook. While the pyramids and pharaohs of Egypt dominate our historical imagination, a lesser-known narrative suggests a land where magic held significant sway. Penned in 1458, the Book of the Sacred Magic of Abramelin. The Mage offers a purported glimpse into this mystical past, claiming to be both the biography of an Egyptian sorcerer and a practical grimoire. However, this ancient text comes with a chilling caveat: a potent curse. Legend whispers that simply possessing this tome is enough to tear the veil between dimensions, inviting malevolent demons to haunt and inflict devastating misfortune upon the owner, a level of ill fate that could prove fatal. The veracity of this curse remains a point of contention. Some vehemently believe in the book's dark power, envisioning its pages as a conduit for otherworldly entities. Others, more skeptical, view it as no more dangerous than any other book detailing arcane practices, attributing the curse to folklore and fear. Regardless of one's belief, the potential consequences associated with the Book of the Sacred Magic of Abramelin the Mage warrant caution. The mere suggestion of demonic intrusion and life-altering misfortune is enough to give pause. Ultimately, prudence dictates a wide berth around any text carrying even the faintest whisper of such supernatural repercussions. Why risk opening a door that might unleash something truly terrifying? The Voinich Manuscript. So, we've journeyed through some seriously spooky and potentially cursed books, but at least we could read those. Then there's the Voinich Manuscript, a book so utterly mysterious it's been making people scratch their heads since its discovery in 1912 by Polish book lover Wilfrid Voynich. He found it tucked away in a college just outside Rome and was immediately struck by its sheer oddity. And for good reason. All 240 pages are filled with an unknown language that has defied every attempt at translation. No author is credited, and the weirdness doesn't stop there. The pages are adorned with seriously strange illustrations, plants that look like they're from another planet, bizarre organic machines, and women in the buff casually bathing in these peculiar plants. This bizarre book has been carbon dated to the 15th century, but beyond that, it's a complete blank. Countless brilliant minds have tried to unlock its secrets, all to no avail. Some even whisper that it contains forbidden knowledge, and that cracking the code comes with a deadly curse. Curse or no curse, it's undeniably one of the weirdest literary puzzles out there. Was it a clever fake? Did aliens drop it off? Or is there some other explanation? The LongLost Friend. When you think of dangerous books, a home remedy guide probably isn't the first thing that springs to mind. Yet, The LongLost Friend, published in 1820, is precisely that, with a few dark spells tucked between the folk cures. This seemingly innocuous blend took a sinister turn in 1928 in rural Pennsylvania. A local witch, preying on the misfortunes of a man named John Blymeyer, convinced him that his neighbor, Nelson Raymeyer, a respected healer and practitioner of Pennsylvania Dutch folk magic, known as powwowing, had cursed him using this very book. Initially skeptical, Blymeyer's persistent bad luck and the witch's manipulative persuasion eroded his disbelief. Consumed by fear and a desperate need to break the perceived hex, Blymeyer, accompanied by two young accomplices who also felt victimized, confronted Raymeyer at his home. Their intent was to retrieve Raymeyer's copy of The LongLost Friend and a lock of his hair, as instructed by the witch for the curse's removal. When Raymeyer refused their demands, the situation tragically escalated. Bleimeyer and his companions brutally murdered Rehmeyer and attempted to destroy his house by fire, hoping to eliminate the source of the alleged curse and conceal their crime. However, the house did not fully succumb to the flames, a fact that only amplified the local rumors surrounding the mystical power of the book and Rehmeyer's supposed malevolence, a narrative undoubtedly fueled by the manipulative witch. Rehmeyer's former residence, now chillingly known as Hex Hollow, still stands, a stark reminder of the tragic events. Legend has it that the clocks within the house remain frozen at the exact moment of Rehmeyer's death. The cursed copy of the long-lost friend involved in this dark episode is rumored to still exist, perhaps even within the walls of Hex Hollow. This grim tale serves as a stark warning. Even seemingly benign books can become instruments of terrible consequences when intertwined with fear, superstition, and malicious intent. Perhaps indeed, a less historically tainted edition would be a far safer read. The Munich Manual of Demonic Magic. As we've established, tampering with ancient grimoires is generally a perilous endeavor, potentially leading to possessions, hauntings, or even a premature demise. However, the 15th century Munich Manual of Demonic Magic introduces a particularly intriguing layer of risk, seemingly skewed towards male practitioners. Unlike many magical texts of that era, which often intertwined angelic and demonic practices, this manual delves exclusively into the darker arts. One of its most potent spells centers around the creation of a mirror intended for the conjuration of Lilith, a demon whose history is steeped in ancient lore. Rooted in Jewish and Mesopotamian mythology, Lilith is portrayed as Adam's rebellious first wife, banished from the Garden of Eden for her refusal to submit to him. Subsequently, she evolved into a powerful demon, often associated with the night, storms, and a distinct hostility towards men, particularly those who dare to summon her without the utmost respect and understanding of her nature. While one might assume that demonic entities harbor a universal disdain for humankind, the Munich Manual subtly suggests a more nuanced dynamic, especially in the context of Lilith. The specific emphasis on crafting a mirror for her evocation, coupled with her mythological backstory of conflict with the first man, implies a heightened potential for malevolent repercussions specifically targeting male summoners. This grimoire, therefore, presents a fascinating, if unsettling, case study in the potential for gendered dynamics within the realm of demonic magic. The original Latin manuscript remains secured within the Bavarian State Library in Munich, a silent testament to its potentially volatile contents, while its translated versions online serve as a stark reminder of the perilous knowledge they contain, perhaps best left undisturbed. The Lost Books of Adam and Eve. The familiar tale of Adam and Eve, their fateful encounter with the forbidden fruit, and their subsequent banishment from the idyllic Garden of Eden is a narrative so deeply woven into our cultural fabric that it resonates even with those unfamiliar with religious texts. For millennia, this story has served as a foundational myth, explaining humanity's origins, the concept of sin, and the hardships of mortal existence. But imagine if that wasn't the complete account. What if a lost chapter, a hidden book, lay waiting in the shadows of history, poised to reveal a far more complex and potentially unsettling truth about the first man and woman? For years, whispers and scholarly speculation surrounded the existence of such a text, a narrative that continued where Genesis left off. Now, archaeologists claim to have unearthed it, the Books of Adam and Eve. Discovered within the ancient and historically rich lands of Egypt, these writings are believed to date back to the early centuries of Christianity, possibly even bearing a connection to the Greek Apocalypse of Moses, mentioned in the New Testament. These ancient texts, also known by titles such as The Contradiction of Adam and Eve or The Conflict of Adam and Eve with Satan, delve into the lives of the first couple after their agonizing expulsion from paradise. Here, the narrative shifts from the blissful innocence of Eden to a harsh and unforgiving world. We witness a reality filled with profound sorrow and the constant insidious manipulations of Satan, who continues his efforts to corrupt and destroy humanity. The books detail the practical struggles of survival, the birth of their first children, Cain and Abel, and the surprising inclusion of their twin sisters, adding layers to the familiar story of sibling rivalry. Furthermore, these lost books expand the Genesis narrative by exploring the lineage of the patriarchs before the Great Flood, offering a broader view of early human history as perceived by these ancient writers. Once considered pseudepigraphical, writings falsely attributed to biblical figures and thus excluded from the official canon, the books of Adam and Eve offer a fascinating, albeit sometimes disturbing, glimpse into the early beliefs and interpretations surrounding humanity's creation and the immediate brutal realities faced after the loss of paradise. They provide a unique perspective on the enduring questions of sin, temptation, and the ongoing conflict between good and evil in the earliest days of humankind, as understood by those who lived in the nascent years of the Christian faith.